This is 99% craps.
Hard 10, hard 10. Here's the number.
I'll take the full odds on the 10, 200 on the hard way. The limit on all the numbers, 250 on the 11. Thank you very much.
Say, you played this game before.
Just once.
Welcome to the Red Eye Gamblers podcast. High above the second largest city, west of the Mississippi. Two chronic craps players, talking craps, playing craps, thinking craps. This is 99% craps.
Coming up on 99% Craps, we're back on the road for a week, hitting up 14 casinos in Lake Charles, New Orleans, and Biloxi. We discuss our plans, bankrolls, and strategies with in-depth focus on craps tables and COVID-19 protocols in each casino along the way. But first, we attack Lake Charles. Wednesday, February 17th, 2021, episode 29. The Red Eye Gamblers present 99% Craps. All right, you ready?
Oh, sure.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody.
We are on the road.
On our next trip, and big trip it is. This is our week of gambling, not just an overnight trip.
This is kind of for your birthday.
Yeah,
Usually try to do one trip for your birthday and one trip for mine, and this is the kind of for yours.
Yeah, a little belated trip in February instead of January, but yeah, typically we would go to Vegas for my birthday in January, and it would be dead
And cold.
and cold. Yeah, so I think it's still dead and cold, but we don't want to fly, so we're driving instead, and
But not to Vegas.
no, heading down I-10 and going to hit Lake Charles. We are not going to hit Baton Rouge, and then we were going to go stay at Harrah's in New Orleans, and then go to Biloxi and stay 2 nights in Biloxi as well. So we're staying at the Harrah's over there, but we'll be able to scout out all the other casinos in Biloxi to see what's going on over there.
Yeah,
So-
because it's been, almost 2 years to my birthday since we've been to Biloxi.
Yeah, I was looking at the cards. I think it was, it might even been 2018 that we were in Biloxi. So it might have
Wow.
been closer to 3 years. But yeah, we went a while back, and that was our trip that we put on the podcast. It was, I think, our fourth, fifth, sixth episode, or fifth, sixth, seventh episode was when we did our first big trip to Biloxi, and I made the mistake of thinking that we had a hotel reservation in New Orleans at the Harrah's, and we didn't. We had a reservation at the Harrah's in Biloxi, and so we had a nice little embarrassing moment there.
Not me.
Well, I think we showed up at like 7 o'clock or something like that.
Yeah.
We were late, and then we were like, "What? You gave away our room? Sir, you didn't have a reservation here." Like, what do you mean I didn't have a reservation? The Harrah's is right here. And then I open it up, and I'm like, "Oh shit! It didn't say Harrah's. It's not Harrah's Biloxi. It's Harrah's Gulf Coast." And that was the confusing part. Is I just assumed it was before we knew a lot. It was before we knew what we know now.
Yeah, I don't know if we know a lot, but before, yeah.
So anyway, I thought Harrah's Gulf Coast could be Harrah's New Orleans, but it wasn't. So anyway, but this time I do have reservations at Harrah's in New Orleans, and then also have.
Well, that's because I made them this time.
Well, that is true. Yeah, that's the other thing. We were able to take advantage of your points on your Caesars credit card.
Yeah, Caesars Rewards came through with a night in New Orleans at Harrah's, and then 2 nights in Biloxi at Harrah's. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and then I was able to get.
Oh, well, actually, correction. They are charging me.
Well, yeah, the
think
resort fee.
No, but the last night I ended up having to pay, I think, $39.99 or something for the room. So not completely all free, but pretty damn close to it.
Yeah. So, and then, so we're on our way to Lake Charles. We're going to stay at the Golden Nugget for tonight. and then we come back on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I've got free stay at LAUBERGE. And so we're staying at LAUBERGE Friday and Saturday, and then coming back on Sunday. Or coming back whenever we want. I mean, who knows? If this thing goes sour or south, you know, we can just put our tail between our legs and head all the way home. But
Right.
I think I'm thinking about this more of a scouting trip again. Of, you know, we haven't been in New Orleans way pre-COVID. I mean, I don't know if we were here in 19 or not. I think it might have been 2018 was when last time we were in New Orleans, and then that goes for Biloxi as well. So this will be a scouting trip going there. But tonight is seeing what we can do on the. It is no longer the shoot to win table. Yeah. Thanks to Mark and Dr. Mike for the You Can Bet on That podcast. Their last episode, or at least the last episode I listened to, talked about the difference between the shoot to win and the roll to win. And I'm like, wait a second, they got that all wrong. We've been playing on the shoot to win table. I mean, I've been calling it that since the very beginning.
Yeah, we have.
And I never, you know, the thing is there really is no signage on the game. You know, the game is always in progress, so the only time I took a picture when it had the name of the thing on was when it was being serviced, or when all the computers were off and nobody was at the table, and so it was just scrolling the name of the game. I took a picture of it, it never sunk in. It fucking says roll to win. And then
shoot to win, roll to win.
Yeah. Well,
everybody knew what we were talking about.
Well, no, because it's confusing because they do have those without dice, and so that's the shoot to win. The ones that are running without dice are shoot to win. The ones that have dice.
I didn't know that. Okay, gotcha.
Well,
gotcha. Okay, that is a little confusing. Then
that's why. Maybe you should listen to their podcast.
Well, you know, I star in them every time, so I don't ever really listen to them.
No, their podcast, not our podcast.
Oh, well, yeah.
So anyway, no, they made that clarification, and sure enough, once I started looking at the photographs that I have, in little itty bitty print on each of your computer screens, at the very bottom, it'll say Aruse Gambling, which is the manufacturer of the game, and then it'll say Roll to Win Craps, and I'm like, damn it. So anyway, thanks to Mark and Dr. Mike for pointing that out. Correction noted. So now we're going to be playing on the roll to win table tonight.
Well, I hope that doesn't change my luck.
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with luck. But yeah, so we'll be looking at those tables for this whole trip. And so that was kind of what we mentioned on the last episode, was that, yeah, this trip is going to be a scouting trip for those roll to win tables. And so, we went to Biloxi, or we went to Baton Rouge, didn't find any. And so this is the trip to go see them in New Orleans and in Biloxi.
But you've heard that there are some in Biloxi, right?
Well, I've seen pictures.
Okay.
So they do exist. I've actually seen them. Yeah, Baton Rouge was kind of I thought I saw them, but I didn't see them. It was kind of like that.
Well, we were hoping that the sister property...
Well, that was the thing, yeah. If LAUBERGE and Lake Charles had it, why wouldn't LAUBERGE in Baton Rouge? Well, because they're not run by the same people. They didn't have Baccarat either, so they just don't have the same customers.
Well, and as expensive as those machines are, from what the managers were telling me at LAUBERGE...
Oh, yeah, why don't you repeat that again? For the people that didn't hear that the first time.
Oh, well, I think you were still playing, but I took some time
playing.
I saw
this was your 5 Jameson story, and you had stopped gambling.
Oh, yeah. Because I'd already won.
Yes.
And so I was talking, they might have been pit bosses, I don't know who they were, but actually I want to say the one had a manager tag.
Floor manager.
Yeah, floor manager of some sort. And I was telling them that, we really liked the new table because... for various reasons. He said, well, we hope to be able to keep them because, it's a real expensive, coming in at around $500,000. But then he said he leased it, so I'm not sure exactly,
what he's leasing it for, too.
But, what the monthly lease on it, if it's a $500,000 piece of property, machine. But, so maybe that's why the one in Baton Rouge couldn't afford it.
Well, yeah. Or or the other thing is, you know, this is the property to test it out on. I mean, that was the other thing. There are, well, no, I guess there's the same amount of tables. There's 4 tables in Baton Rouge and there's 4 tables in Lake Charles.
Right.
So it's the same number. And then they had the bubble craps.
Push the button!
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway. So yeah, $500,000 for that 10 seaters.
Which, to be honest with you, doesn't seem that bad because, I mean...
No, I mean, yeah, what do you gotta be pulling a month or pulling a week at least?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it definitely pays for itself within a year, definitely probably less. But again, we had talked a little bit about, well, it's only running at 50%.
Right now it is because of COVID, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
so I mean, it's not getting the correct revenue. But it's still making progress.
It decreases your staff, yeah, because you only have one person.
Yeah, manpower is down to one person. Well, and then didn't we hear from somebody who stayed longer than we did at LAUBERGE that the real tables weren't running and only the roll to win was working?
Yeah, that's what that guy said. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think maybe I can get you drinking and you can talk to more floor people and get some more information about how long the contract's for and all that. Get some more details.
Well,
yeah, you know what we possible. Can do? Maybe we can make an argument to have them put the ATS on it. Is there any way for them to switch up bonus bets? It's got to be customizable, right?
I would assume so to a certain extent, or you'd call them and they would do the upgrade and then download it for you, type of deal. But I mean, I don't know that we've seen any bonus bet on any machine type craps.
Well, yeah, bubble craps didn't have anything, but we didn't spend a lot of time on it, so. Yeah, well, that's what we can do this time is look around and try to compare and contrast machine to machine. But
yeah, I mean that's kind of one of the negatives on the roll to win is that it doesn't have the ATS, but it does have that one bonus, but it's not that good of a bonus.
I don't know. It's kind of an even money bonus. So I've changed my mind on it a little bit. The thing is if you only put $1 on it, you're not making any money. I think you have to actually put like $10 on it in order to actually have. Because I think if you can have a decent roll, then you can roll 8 and get your money back, or win even money. It's then multiples of 8 that you start getting paid 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, 7 times, and then more. You got to roll 50 to get 100 times.
Right. Well, the time I had the 38 roller, I managed not to put any money on it, which was one of the first times that I didn't.
And that would have been 7 times.
It would have been times 7. But if I had put $8 or $10 on it, I mean that was only let's say I put 10, that's only $70.
Yeah.
Well, I mean I had I was hitting a lot of inside numbers, so I mean I made
you made plenty of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that's the thing. I mean, you can take advantage of it. I think for us, I feel comfortable with. We can get our money back.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
But then if you get lucky, then maybe you get an extra, $30, $50.
Yeah. Well, one time I was rolling, and I want to say I was in the 20s, and I got to the 24, and I want to say I had $7 or $8 on it, and so that was
3 times, I think.
Times 3, so that was $24, and so I was able to play 6 and 8 at $12 a piece.
Well,
I feel like okay, well that's
it is a little bit of a hedge, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Once you start earning that, once you see that you can get that bonus back, then you can risk what you got.
Yeah.
On the, on your place bets. So, but back to I saw pictures of Harrah's in New Orleans has a roll to win table, and then. I think the Palace in Biloxi has it, and then I've heard that there's 2 more, and I just can't remember where they are. So, but we'll go around and we'll look at, we'll go visit all the casinos in Biloxi that we can, and give a report back. I mean, the other question is what are their limits? I've been hearing Vegas is still, 15, 25, 50.
Sure.
And. I think the East Coast is still at like $50 tables. So, Yeah, what are the limits? I mean, because we compare Biloxi kind of like going downtown Vegas, that it's kind of that blue collar, low limit place. So,
well, if we can find some $5 tables, it would be great to, well, that'd be the table that really runs some regressions.
Yeah, well, and that could be the thing is the roll to win table could be $5. The roll to win table seems to be always maybe one unit less than the real tables. There's $15 table limits at LAUBERGE, but it's $10 on the roll to win.
And they don't ever change. They haven't changed it, whether it be morning or night.
No, it doesn't go up and down. Yeah. That's at least with the real tables, they do go up and down.
Sure, they do.
Yeah, we were at last time we were at Golden Nugget in the morning. It was $10.
Yeah, it was.
So I think that's the other thing. We're going to try to do some early morning shooting, so we can play a little bit on some real tables. I definitely want to do that at Golden Nugget because, you want to know what I'm getting in comps now?
How much?
$5.
Oh, whole $5.
Yeah, I got for the whole month of February, $5 for my money. I'm like,
which means now you have to actually put up more money to make the bet.
Yeah. $8 food comp too.
Oh.
But I can stay Sunday through Thursday still, 2 nights. So anyway, I got to give them some love. I'm actually, that was the other thing I wanted to mention. We had talked a little bit about John Patrick last time, and about his books that I had just finished, the money management book he had, and mentioned the other books that I had. I did not have the Baccarat book, so I ordered it, and so it'll be in by the time we get back. Because that was one of those things I figured, well, it's a slow game where I can earn comps.
Right.
So I think that's kind of the idea of what I want to do with Baccarat. And then, in Lake Charles, there's plenty of Baccarat tables. So,
yes.
So anyway, I was thinking maybe I'll throw that into my, other things of gambling for a little bit in order to earn some comps.
Yeah, because you didn't play Pai Gow too well last time.
No, Pai Gow was not enough. But I did bring my shirt. I brought my Drink and Push for shirts.
Nice.
So from the Better Life. So
I have my Craps shirt too.
Oh yeah, that's right. You got that one too. So anyway, we brought our lucky shirts. So maybe we'll turn things around. Actually, there's a lot going on this week. I mean, this is actually the week of Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras is Fat Tuesdays next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow.
No, and I thought one of the cool things that you did was when we were watching the big game.
Yes, we can call it the Super Bowl. Ain't nobody listening to this podcast.
You had a side TV that was live streaming.
We were live streaming Bourbon Street,
and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a live stream from the Cat's Meow on YouTube, and it's a camera from the balcony, and it swings from one side of Bourbon Street to the other, and so you can see traffic coming in and out, and it was pretty freaking dead, which is exciting for us because that means we won't have anything to worry about. But it's also a little sad because now's the time it would be friggin' crazy.
Oh, it would be packed.
Yeah, no. So we'll be down in New Orleans on Wednesday Tuesday, tomorrow. Tomorrow to the Treasure Chest, which is just a beautiful name for a casino
or strip club,
or both.
Right.
Back in the day, there were brothels that would have gambling in the back. So that would be what I would want to do.
I like places that have backdoor games.
Right. Careful. But so anyway, we've never been to the other casinos outside of New Orleans. So the Treasure Chest is a Boyd property, but it's a boat. So we'll go take a look at that. And then apparently pretty close to it is one of the best king cake bakeries. And so we'll grab ourselves a king cake and start celebrating Mardi Gras this whole week. And then Biloxi celebrates Mardi Gras too. So I think there'll be a lot of decorations and a lot of festivities. So I'm excited about that.
Well, and I am going to say, I know that I'm going to have to try to find some crawfish at some point.
We can do crawfish.
bound to be
We're
everywhere.
Yeah, no, we can. Well, seafood. Definitely do seafood. That's the one thing that Biloxi's known for, is for all their seafood buffets and stuff. So we'll see what they're doing there. You know, the way that they're handling buffets is they're doing Fridays and Saturdays, and then they'll bring it to your table.
Yeah.
So all you can eat. You know, so maybe we can. Well, we've got to figure out what Mississippi's doing.
Right.
You know, Biloxi. I don't know that they've got plexiglass like everybody else. I don't know if the rules are the same. So we'll have to see what's going on there. But yeah, so we're getting pretty excited. And then the other thing that's happening is when we get back to LAUBERGE for the weekend, it's Chinese New Year, and so there'll be a Chinese New Year celebration on Friday and Saturday in Lake Charles. So that'll be at least interesting. I don't know. If
well, we were there one year when
Mm-hmm.
and we saw the dragons
dances
dancing
and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, there'll be activities. The good thing is there's not a lot of those people play craps. They usually all play baccarat.
Well, LAUBERGE does cater to a lot of Asian people, and, it does seem like the majority of them like to play baccarat.
Well, that's why there's like
like 10
tables for baccarat, and even
and the
gold
limit
nugget.
and the limits on them go crazy.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I want to try to see if there's a $25 table. I think the smallest I've seen is 50. But yeah, last time we were at LAUBERGE, we were watching these players play $200.
Oh, but they were betting like $2,000.
Yeah, well, the minimum was 200, but they were betting. Yeah, they had like 10,000 in chips. It was pretty amazing just to watch. But they're lazy.
Well, but you know, I feel like when you hover behind somebody, I wonder if they ever think that I'm bringing bad luck to them.
Oh, well, of course you are.
Yeah, that's why I hate watching them play for
you're
such
the white.
big
You're
money.
the white American juju.
Well, I'm just bad luck to everybody.
Right. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, that's what they do at the craps table all the time. They'll stand up right next to you while you're shooting and look at the table. So no, there's, you know, what is it? That's fair play. You know, but anyway, so yeah, it should be an exciting week with a lot of activity. And so we're going to scout out New Orleans and then scout out Biloxi and then figure out when we're going to go back. Because I think weekdays we've pretty much figured out that, you know, it's dead during the week, so we can go any casino we want to go and be able to be safe around COVID.
Well, on the news here in the last day or two, I mean, numbers are coming down, which is great.
Yeah, well,
but we still have to be careful.
We got to find out what happened with Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, those unfortunate people in Super Bowl that had to celebrate because they won. You know, hopefully they stay in Florida and they don't travel. I mean, that hopefully that's the thing, is they didn't have a lot of people usually fly in for the Super Bowl, and because they had limited tickets, you know, if anything, maybe all those people had private planes and went on their own private planes that didn't go to the neighborhood bars and, you know, celebrate like the locals did. And I think that's what you saw was locals celebrating. So it's just going to be unfortunate for the Tampa area and Florida going forward. So hopefully everybody's numbers just keep going down. So, but yeah, so that's what we're doing this week. I'm pretty excited about it, actually. We haven't done a big trip like this in a long time. Well, I didn't even think we could do it because of COVID.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, flying is still not there. I mean, I think I've decided that, you know, it's once we get the vaccine, then we can start thinking about flying. But again, if this turns out to be a good trip, you know, then maybe we just keep going to Biloxi.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Have we even looked at what flights are costing nowadays to Vegas?
I don't know if they're cheap or if they're back in the middle. I mean, I think, you know, from Houston to Vegas was running around, you know, I've paid as much as $400 or $500 round trip.
Yeah.
But then I know, like, when we did Spirit and stuff like that, we were able to get like $220 round trip. And so, you know, anywhere between $200 and $400, I was figuring was a deal.
Right.
And so I think, yeah, it might be around like $380, and then you got to pay taxes, which push it up for over $400. I haven't seen any deals, and the other thing is I don't want to fly on any deal airlines. You know, I only want to fly on a couple airlines that I like because I'm a big guy, and I don't want to, you know, my knees end up hitting the seat in front of me, and, you know, what I want to do is get a deal on first class. You know, where there's nothing better than flying first class to Vegas and then taking the red eye home. That is perfect. You pay for the upgrade to do the first one, you know, to do the, and you're only doing one way, or you know, you're only doing it one way, so it's not quite as expensive as getting it both ways. And you're asleep the whole way back anyway, so you don't need first class on the way back. But having a couple of cocktails on a 3-hour flight to Vegas, you know, and then you're the first one off the plane, first one in line for a cab. I love that. I love that. So, but anyway, instead we are taking a luxury automobile straight down I-10, and yeah, if we would go straight to Biloxi, I think it would be 6 hours. But we're going to stop in Lake Charles, and it's 2 hours from Houston to Lake Charles, and then it's 2.5 from Lake Charles to, or no, 3.5 from Lake Charles to New Orleans, and then only an hour and a half from New Orleans to Biloxi. But then coming back, Biloxi and Lake Charles are 4 hours apart. So anyway, which is all manageable, you know, driving. And then, you know, we've got several coolers filled up, and got snacks. We got our tunes. That was the other problem. Remember last time when we went to Cromwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, we never did the podcast.
Well, we could have done it in the room, but we're in Vegas. You don't want to sit in the room.
Well, that was back when we were gambling 16 hours a day.
Right.
So
those were the trips we were walking 12 to 15 miles a day.
Yeah. No, we're getting as much in as we could. So
eating while we were walking. Yeah, I mean, we didn't stop or slow down for nobody.
No, and just played. So, well, that's yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm hoping that we find more than one table in Biloxi, which I think we will. And I hope Biloxi's comfortable and has low limits, and we get lucky, so we want to make a trip back.
Well, now I'm excited about tomorrow's dinner.
Well, that's true. Well, we'll talk more. We'll talk more about the rest of the trip, the other legs of the trip as we go. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to edit and break this podcast out, because the last one was really long. It was 2.5 hours. Apologize for that, guys, but you know, we were finally back in the car together and had a couple days and just had enough to talk about, so we just kept talking. But this, we're going to be on the road for a lot longer, and I know we're going to have at least
15 hours.
I was going to say at least 8 hours, but I'll have to break that up into multiple things. So we'll do different segments and different parts, and yeah, my goal is to you know, have something out by Wednesday of next week, and then because anything about Mardi Gras in New Orleans will be too old if it waits too much longer. So yeah, so we'll break it up and talk about each piece of the puzzle, and talk about different pieces of history, different pieces of gambling, and so forth. So with that all being said, we are on our way to Lake Charles again, and heading to the Roll to Win table. But then we're also planning on playing early morning, so hopefully we'll be able to get on the Golden Nugget reel table in the morning with a $10 limit.
Yes, that would be very cool.
So that all being said, we are going to have a regular morning crap session for this trip. So what I'm going to try to do is try to take, in order to get myself up, I'm going to try to take pictures of the sunrise for Instagram, and then we will start playing craps at 7-Eleven in the morning, which kind of makes sense, huh?
Very lofty aspirations.
Well, I can always wake you up when I leave at 7-Eleven. And then I guess we'll find out if I'm lucky without you or with you. So, but yeah, so have a regular early morning session, then come back, take showers, do whatever we gotta do, have a little coffee, a little breakfast or whatever. And then depending on if we're staying in that city or if we're leaving that city, then we head out and go to the next one. But I think, we got to have that early morning session. Otherwise, we're not going to play. Because if we go at night and it's full, and we already talked about how if we're getting up early, you don't want to stay up late. So that kind of, excludes the late night gambling.
Which we are never really that. I think the last trip I did well the first night.
You were the only one that did well.
Usually it doesn't turn out well for us.
That doesn't work out so well for me when I play late in the evening. So,
well, and I was actually watching a YouTuber that did a video, and he was a craps player, and that was exactly what he said: is I never gamble when I arrive that day. I won't gamble that night because I want to get adjusted. And he found himself at the craps table and lost like $1,000.
Yeah. No, I lost like $300 when I did it, and then. I think the last time though I only lost $50, but still you're losing as opposed to winning.
Right.
So, and we've talked about that before. I've mentioned it before that it doesn't work. And then now with COVID, it just makes more sense that you want to play around less people and be more comfortable around less people. So yes.
With all that being said, I can still see us on a table tonight.
Well, yes. Well, and that's the other thing with the 50, everybody's spaced out around the roll to win table where there's only 5 people instead of 10, and then plexiglass being up, you can still feel safe even though the casino might be running. I won't say full. They're not full because it's weekdays again. And that is the other thing. We're coming out during the week trying to figure out if, okay, maybe we can play in the evening, but maybe it's not, not after 11 p.m. Maybe it's happy hour to dinner, but then we don't come back out after dinner.
Yeah.
But it's that small piece of, discipline that we just have to really focus in on. We know these are our rules. We need to stick by them.
Yeah, the golden rules, but we don't always follow them.
No. So we'll still try to adhere to those goals and rules and limits this time around. So I think as far as bankroll and session play and all that kind of stuff, I think I'm still going to try to do low limit stuff, maybe buy in for, depending on what time of day it is, somewhere between 300 and 500.
Well, exactly. Well, that our goal is not to stay. I think if half hour to 45 minutes is the max.
Yeah, you just want to say less than an hour?
Yeah, it would be the max we need to be on a table. And even if it's just cashing out and going for an hour to do something else, eat or just walk the property or whatever, and then go back, I think we'd be better off doing that.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. So, but pretty much doing the same thing I was doing last time. I think really when you're playing low limit, playing sisters is probably the best way to go about that. That's only 2 bets.
Yeah, I would basically start out on a 6 and 8, and if the shooter could hit a couple of them, then I might spread out to the 5 and 9. But I was still counting rolls, and I felt like, if he got to the 5th roll, I might turn it off and then wait till if he made it to the 9th or 10th roll and turn it back on, or just stay off completely and, whatever hits I got, protect my initial bets.
Well, and I think that's the one thing that I wanted to do more that I didn't do last time was raise your bets but turn them off.
Right.
And wait for that next player. Get my $18 6 and 8, convert it to 30, get one hit, turn it off. Instead of leaving it on and losing it. Or your $12 6 and 8, and raising raising both of them to 18, and then just slower steps, move up, but then think you're going to play the higher raised bet on the next player, not the same player.
Well, and I mean, we've talked about that, but never had the discipline to do it.
Right.
I mean, that, you know, first 2 or 3 rolls, if they can hit 1 or 2 of them, or just one, and then stop and let them shoot until they 7 out and then wait for the next roller. I think, you know, it's just such a slow grind. It's hard to do that when you know, enjoy gambling.
No, but again, it's much easier at the shoot to win.
The roll to win.
Roll to win. Thank you. Yeah, it's going to take me a while on that one. Shit, I think I did probably 8 episodes or
right.
5 episodes
talking about it. Yeah.
Roll to win. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's what you need on a trip like this too. We're gambling for we're leaving on a Monday and we're coming back on a Sunday.
Plenty of opportunities. Yeah, exactly.
We'll have 7 days to gamble, so it doesn't mean it's not like we're going to Vegas and we need to gamble all the time.
Well, believe me, if we get on the game tonight, you know, if we get on the table tonight and I make a quick 50, 75 in the first 10 minutes, I'm cashing out and being happy. You know?
Well, and I think that's it. When we've talked about this before, even if we just made a quarter, we're planning on, you know, if you count the casinos we're going to try to go to and say, okay, if I make 25 or 50 bucks at each one of those places, I mean, we're going to go over to more than a dozen casinos. You know, that's not that much money. 12 times 25?
300.
Okay. Well, it's still up.
That's definitely still up.
I guess I wouldn't be really disappointed, but yeah, if you're only spending an hour and making 50 bucks.
Well, and the other thing that'll help maybe put all that in perspective is if we keep better details of our actual expenses that we're spending. You know, what are we spending this week? You know, like when I filled out my car, I printed the receipt, which I never do.
Right.
But now I have that so that we know how much in gas, how much in hotel.
No, I do have a spreadsheet for all that. So
well, and we need to. It might help make those wins look bigger.
Well, there is also a minimum amount we need to win to cover our costs for the trip.
Absolutely.
Gas, food, and stuff. I mean, just going to Lake Charles, that's a quick, easy trip. So you don't think about buying gas because you already had gas in your car. But a trip like this, you're getting gas 2-3 times.
Right.
You know, that's 40, 50, 60 bucks each time. You know, and so it would be nice to, win enough to cover your expenses, and then also.
Well, when we talked about this previously, you threw out a number, and I actually thought it was pretty up in the area. We said $100, between gas and
$100 a day.
$100 a day, and between gas and hotel and a little bit of food. I mean, we're not counting our Tuesday night dinner on that because that's a special dinner.
Yeah, that's different.
But all the other food we eat is going to be, we're going to.
Well,
pizza.
We're going to be frugal about it.
Yeah, we're going to look for the deals.
Well, that was the other thing. We're going to do a high-end meal, knowing that, then we don't have to do high-end for everything else.
Well, but if we end up doing seafood in Biloxi, that could end up being
$30.
Yeah, not real expensive.
Reasonable.
Yeah, it should be fresh and reasonable and delicious.
All right. So small session bankrolls, less than an hour gambling, starting with sisters. I guess checking to see if our dice are rolling the way we want them to roll.
And the other thing I watched you do was sit down and put money in, and you played the first shooter after that, and he 7'd out in like 1 or 2 rolls.
Oh yeah.
And and all of a sudden you're $24 down.
Yep.
So you got to watch that.
I hate those 0.7 outs, those PSOs. Man, they hurt. And that's what you got to watch out for is, you've been doing $12 6s and 8s, and then all of a sudden you decide you want to do $18 6s and 8s. And then you press it to 30, and then 2 rolls later.
Yeah.
And then they 7 out, and then now you lost what you had built up to 60 is now gone. And then that's why I'm saying once I get that built up, I might just turn it off in order to play it on the next player. I still want to go back to that, that book, The Greatest Crap Guru, I think is what it's called. And it was basically a book on the Iron Cross. And basically that, if you had the discipline to play the Iron Cross for 2 rolls and turn it off.
Yeah.
Well,
we feel like that bet is doable on the roll to win. We didn't like to do that on a real table.
Well, because you have to have the dealer put a lot of that stuff out there, and if you're only doing it for 1 or 2 rolls, then that's the thing. The dealers would get a little pissy if you weren't tipping them, obviously. But
and I think you're laying across. I think I'm going to
come out
on the come out. I think I'm going to do that once or twice. I mean, I don't think you can do it every time, but
if the 7s are coming,
yeah.
I mean, we did a lot of practice.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
We did. I guess. So with our practice this time, we actually used Bone Tracker, and for those of you that don't know Bone Tracker, it's a Excel spreadsheet software kind of deal where you can plug in your dice for every roll, and it'll record what you did, and then give you all sorts of. It spits out all sorts of computations and stuff on, what you did right, what you did wrong, and then recommend other dice sets, and it's got way too much information. I haven't studied it enough, but we'll throw a link on that. But that's from Heavy's Power Axis Craps site, and it was developed by a bunch of other dudes that are much better at craps than we are, that offer classes and that kind of stuff. So, but appreciate that it's free software. And so we were able.
It's extensive. I mean, it's detailed.
Yeah. Well, it's so detailed where you use 2 different color dice. You use a green dice for the left dice and a red dice for the right dice, so that when you roll them, you know which dice was which when you put them in. So
it also is really good to do that when you're practicing, because then you can really see which way your dice are cutting.
Yeah. For instance, if you're doing the HARDWAYS set, which is 3s on top, 4s on bottom, 2s facing you, and 5s facing out, or some sort of combination of that. But then your 6 and 1s are on the outside faces. When we talk about keeping your dice on axis, well, if a 6 or a 1 pops up, your dice were off axis, because they shouldn't. If you're on axis, then they'll stay between the 3s, 4s, 5s, and 2s. A 1 and a 6 means your dice split, which means it broke off axis. So that's when you're rolling at the table, at the real table, not at home. That's another way for you to determine whether, what's wrong with your throw.
But of course, then you don't get the dice back. So
well, that's true. Yeah, once you 7 out, then it goes to the next player, and you don't get to shoot again.
Unless it was your come out.
That's true. But yeah, so we spent a lot of time. We put a book. You put 1 book together. I ended up putting 2 books together. I did. We both did HARDWAYS, and then I did a 7 set. And just because I wanted to see what my 7 set was doing, because I was fairly confident that my HARDWAYS set wasn't working, and so that's kind of that was how I felt the last trip. And sure enough, it sounds like or looks like that my dice were double pitching, which meant the 3s on top and the 4s on bottom. When I'd throw them, I'd get a 3, 4, 7. Which means 1 dice was rotating double, and so it means I had that problem. So I practiced on my 7 set, and sure enough, when I was doing that, I was getting a lot of HARDWAYS. So I have this double pitch problem. So now I'm going to throw 7 sets for my. I was usually just throwing 7 sets on the come out, and so that's why when I throw a 7 on the come out, and then be able to lay across. On the come out, and then you throw the 7, and then you win all that money. Well, my 7 set wasn't working, but then I never rolled it. I never used it again. I only used it on the come out, and then I would go to the HARDWAYS set, and then I would 7 out. So now I'm just going to use 7 set forever, and see how it goes.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So But still be on the low limit side of things, so I'm not risking. So, another thing I wanted to bring up was 7 exposure. 7 exposure is the amount of money you're going to lose if a 7 pops. And so that's another thing we've got a big fear of, and that's what we always hate about people that press their bets all the time, is they got so much money at risk. Every time they press their bet, it just gets bigger and bigger, and so you've got so much more exposure. But we're trying to reduce that exposure. So, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, nothing. You were doing fine. Well, I think when I'm rolling, it'll be different when other people are rolling. But when I'm rolling, I'm going to be willing to go 44 inside, depending on obviously what the point is. But with that, that's what I'm willing to gamble, and I am going to press my first 2 or 3 hits if I'm rolling.
Right.
And then I'll start taking a little bit, and then doing half take, half raise.
What are you thinking about the 4 and 10? Maybe if you see it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if it's popping for somebody, like you rolled a lot of 4s, so maybe play it on you. But I mean, I generally don't play the 4-10. I like the inside. Well, but that's because I hit a lot more inside numbers.
Well, and I think that's something we need to communicate too, is we need to tell each other when we're changing our set or what set we're using, so that we know how to bet on each other.
Well, I mean, me, I'm still going to rotate through my 2 or 3 sets.
Yeah, but I'd really like to know what you were doing before you throw.
Well, I'm rolling for inside numbers.
I mean, do you do one set? Like, do you switch every roll, or do you do 2? I'll do 2 in one set, and then I'll switch to and do 2 in another. And do you do them in groups, or do you just alternate? Well,
usually, so for the come out roll, I always do the HARDWAYS set, and then I figure whatever number just came up, I shouldn't change my set. I should roll at least the second time, because that's how you hit your back to back.
Okay.
So then the third roll, I usually do the inverted 3s, because then now I want to hit my 6 and 8.
Okay.
And then I pretty much will go back and forth between them.
Okay. And then you go to the 2s.
2s, I do that once every...
If it's a 2 or a 4?
If it's a 4
or
or 10.
4 or 10?
Or, to be honest with you, I hit a lot of 6s when I do 2 inverted 2s. So...
Well, that makes...
No sense, I know. I hit 5s and 6s when I do the inverted 2s.
Well, does that mean that on the other side of the 2 is the 3 and 4? I mean, is your hard 4 set actually the HARDWAYS set? You just roll it over?
No, it's the inverted 2s with 3-1.
Oh,
3-1's facing me.
So you got a 6 and a 4 on the other side.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you got a 4 and a 10.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's supposed to roll 4s or 10s. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so you got 2 4s and 2 10s.
But I usually roll 5s or 6s with it.
Okay. Which means you're double pitching too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. One of the things that I'll be looking for when I roll is when I am using the HARDWAYS, if I start rolling a lot of HARDWAYS, I definitely want to get a couple of dollars up on that.
Yeah, we've never really
Which I'm not a big person on that, but...
What if it's only $1?
Well, I start with $1, $2 or whatever, but, it was adding... Well, when you're playing lower limits and you get another 18 or, another $14 or whatever, $16 added on to your $30, that ends up being a nice hit.
Yeah. Well, and, back in the day, the way I was looking at it too was, as long as you had enough money on the place number,
right.
then you would cover the loss on the HARDWAY.
Right.
I always thought,
Yeah,
if you had 30, you definitely needed to put something on a HARDWAY.
Yeah, well, but it wouldn't make sense to put a quarter on it. It would make sense to put a nickel, maybe.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. Your 30 wins 35, so if you think of it that way, it's okay, my 31.30, and then it covers my $5 HARDWAY.
Right.
So, and then definitely if you're playing even higher than that, I mean, if you've got a $60 6, I mean, you should easily be putting down, $2 to $5 on a HARDWAY because it's covered.
Yeah.
Well, then especially if we're actually throwing it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to watch, because during that 138 roll that I had, I was hitting the HARDWAYS. and I did have a little money on it, and I mean, I hit it a few times. And then, you know, if I hit a easy 6 or something, to put $3 or $2 up isn't,
put a piece of your winnings.
It's not hurting you, you know.
Yeah, that it just has to be within range of not being out of whack of what you're winning.
But I mean, that's not something I'm doing for random rollers. That was
just
something
on you,
just on me, and just that really was one of the first times I've ever done it, because I noticed I was hitting quite a few hardways.
Yeah. So I think we, you know, take it slow tonight, and then that's the thing. Yeah, we're leaving for New Orleans tomorrow, and then scouting out New Orleans, and then scouting out Biloxi, and then we'll be back, you know, to play at LAUBERGE. So, you know, come Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday morning, you know, we can really hit the table. So I think it's still, you know, we can take baby steps, and just go for these small wins in order to gain our confidence as we go on this trip.
Yeah, because I was getting pretty confident last time.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to keep that. You've got to keep that going. And that's the other thing. If we end up going to, you know, 8, 10, 12 casinos, the odds of us winning at every single one of those is pretty slim.
Right.
So, I mean, so we got to be careful, and you know, that would be a nice trip report, is if we were able to win no matter what at each place, even though might have been $25 here or $50 there, but that all adds up.
Well, instead of subtracting, yeah, it does.
Yeah. Well, and that also, you're adding up for when we come back to Lake Charles, and then all of a sudden now we're back home with a lot of confidence because we didn't lose on our trip, and now we can, you know, go in a little more heavy-handed on our home turf.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'm able to throw that 7 set on the come out and have it hit, and then so we can have, you know, 180 across laying, you know, and I do that once, and that's enough. There doesn't need to be another game. I mean, that's like 160, 170 something.
No, I thought you said it was 114.
Is that all it was? 180 is only 114?
I think so.
Okay. Oh, yeah, minus the VIG. Oh, that was the other thing with, I think the roll to win table does take out the VIG on the back end.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, yeah, so I think I misspoke on that earlier.
So I think 180 pays 120, and then the $6 for the VIG, right?
Right, I think that's it. It's, but yeah, so I think that's kind of it. Of let's go, you know, put our toe in the water for all these new places that we haven't been to since COVID, and then come back to Lake Charles for Chinese New Year and have a good New Year.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I think I'm going to cut it on this one. We're, like we said, we're about 30 minutes away from Lake Charles, and so we're just going to go ahead and do a little bit of gambling tonight, do some gambling in the morning, and be on the road, and we'll talk to you then. But then again, I don't know how I'm going to chop this up for the podcast, so hopefully you'll hear us. Well, just get ready for being on vacation with us on a trip, and it's going to be multiple episodes.
There you go.
So anyway, thanks for listening. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you in technically seconds. Adios.
Cheers.
Well, good morning, crap shooters. We are back on the road heading to our next stop, which is going to be New Orleans.
Yeah, we managed to get up early this morning and hit it early.
Did what we said. We were out of our room by 7-Eleven and heading towards the craps tables. So stayed overnight at the Golden Nugget, which has a very comfortable room, but did not find an open table at the Golden Nugget this morning, so we went straight across over to LAUBERGE and was able to get onto the roll to win table.
Yes, we did.
So
yeah, I was kind of not upset, but disappointed a little bit. I did want to roll at Golden Nugget. And,
yeah.
and from what I heard from one of the dealers, it sounded like some of the players that were still playing had been up all night.
Yeah. So you know,
those definitely are not the type of players we want to play with.
No, but I mean, the last couple of times we've been able to play at the table, it was closer to 8 that we were out.
Well, and I guess people aren't drunk in the morning because they weren't serving alcohol.
Yeah, well, that's unless I think I caught one person going back and forth to the room that had a vodka cranberry. He might have been loading up in his room, but
well, they can't really stop you from doing that.
No, they just can't sell it.
Yeah.
So,
well, we found out that alcohol stops at 11, but it starts at 8 a.m.
Yeah, it starts back up at 8 a.m., so that's not too shabby. But you just got to maintain after 11. So, but we were done gambling last night, so we didn't need to keep going. Yeah, what did we do yesterday?
Well, I didn't even gamble. You did a little bit, lost a little, but not much.
Yeah, I gambled a little bit before dinner, and because we checked in at around 4:30. We did not lock our keys in the car, so that was a plus.
That was a plus.
And so there was a spot from straight out for me to shoot at, and so I just was playing sisters like I said I was gonna, and really didn't get no luck at the table. Shot 1 or 2 times, and really ended up.
Well, it seemed like you were continuing your shooting from the last visit.
Yeah. No, actually it was, I think, 3 and out and 5 and out, and that was it. I really only rolled twice, and basically lost, $50 on myself twice, and so there I'm down. I was down about 100, and I'm like, okay, well.
And I was hungry enough that I didn't even want to try to play.
Well, and so again, this was me not keeping to our rules of don't play in the evening.
Well,
I guess it was happy hour, so
it was happy hour, but the rule would have been don't play when you first get there.
Well, yeah, that would
have been the rule.
But the good thing was I only bought in for 300, so it's not like I bought in for 500 and went down to 50%. So, but I still lost 100, so that wasn't great. But shut it down and said okay. And then realistically, we couldn't have gotten back on the table. There were people waiting for that table to open. And then the other 2 tables that were open, they were at 15, and were doing 4 aside.
Yeah, they were.
So, and then, Golden Nugget, they don't seem to be high on masks, or mask enforcement, I should say.
Yeah, I think the enforcement. I mean, they've got all the signs that say, you must wear a mask.
But it had more people not wearing masks than LAUBERGE did. And LAUBERGE, their dealers are telling everybody they need to be wearing their mask. So at least when you're at the game, they enforce the mask wearing until you need to smoke a cigarette and until you need to take a drink.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say between the two, I think LAUBERGE is the little more COVID safer. I didn't want to say COVID friendly because that's not the right phrase. But I feel safer at LAUBERGE because their COVID enforcement is better.
Right, I agree.
So, but what's interesting though is when you're going into the Golden Nugget, they do a temperature check and they still give you a stamp on your hand so that when you come back, in and out, you don't have to worry about getting your temperature rechecked. But at LAUBERGE, they stopped doing temperature checks.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So I don't know. You got that back and forth. They're not taking temperature checks, but they're doing more enforcement.
I don't know that I'm really overly worried about temperature checks because, you can be asymptomatic and still,
No, true that. But yeah, either way, I think, I definitely felt more comfortable at LAUBERGE, and so we'll focus more of our play on LAUBERGE. But, if there's nobody playing at the table in the morning at Golden Nugget, we'll play there.
Yeah.
So it's just, you really got to be lucky. We thought being up by 7, we wouldn't have a problem.
But there were 4 or 5 people already on the table.
Yeah. Well, and it also looked like 2 minutes before we got there, people were getting there.
Yeah.
So it's, again, just a matter of time. But then again, if there's 3 at the table, somebody's going to try to squeeze in to make it 4.
Right.
And then that's just, then now I don't want to be rubbing shoulders with anybody right now.
Yeah.
I could rub shoulders with you and feel okay, but, other than that.
Well, I didn't really like people touching me before.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing. Yeah, but even before COVID, we didn't like being crowded at a table. So yeah, last night after dinner, then we grabbed a couple cigars, went down to the pool area. Oh, a little disappointed in the pool area. It shut down at 10.
10, we got kicked out.
Yeah, we got down there at 9:45 and lit up a cigar and had our beers out there. The bar wasn't open, so the good thing was that we were able to bring a couple beers down from the cooler. But as soon as we had our cigars...
And a wee bit of rum.
But yeah, I went down there and started getting comfortable. It was about 10 till 10, and lady comes down around and said, "Oh, we're closing up in 10 minutes." I'm like, what?
Because I mean, even when that bar's been closed, we've gone down there and sat,
Yeah,
and there've been other people, so I didn't understand that.
Well, it's COVID. I mean, that's all that is. So they just don't want to have people congregate.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we got kicked out of there, but you know, they've got a beach out on the backside of the casino, so went out there and they had picnic tables on the beach, and they didn't, you know, there wasn't anybody out there to kick you out, so we hung out there and met one of our listeners and was able to talk shop, and that was actually kind of fun. And the thing I wanted to mention is, you know, when we started the podcast, the whole thing was we wanted to do the podcast because we didn't want to talk to you at the table.
Right.
That was because we were all nervous and would easily distracted.
And then blame it on you for distracting me.
Well, blame it on anybody,
for rolling
but I mean,
the 7, yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. We didn't want to have to blame anybody on chit-chatting with us. Well, lo and behold, 6 years after we got started, and, you know, 3 years out, you know, 2.5 years after we started the podcast, I think we're finally comfortable at the table.
Right.
Because you didn't have a problem talking during your roll, and with me talking to the dealer, and yeah, so I went out this morning, was able to get out and started playing. Probably, I think around 7:45, we started playing.
Yeah, because we had to walk over from Golden Nugget to LAUBERGE. Yeah.
So, and you were able to get into your spot right away, and I was shooting from straight out, which I didn't really care about, but, you know, it was the only spots available. Actually, you know, once we showed up, then it was a full table.
Right.
You know, 5 people. And so dice went around, and we were shooting. Well, you were shooting mildly okay at the beginning.
No, my first 2 rolls were crap.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, so what, 3 and out or 5 and out?
Yeah,
maybe?
3 and out. I think I had a 3 and out and a 5 and out.
Yeah, and I think I might have rolled 8, but didn't hit a point.
Oh, but on the 5 and out, I did hit point. I did hit 1 point. I hit 8. Yeah, that was my point.
Yeah. So basically, our beginning rolls, our first 2 rolls, both were shitty. But then you were able to.
Yeah,
you were actually at stick right, and then went into the open position that nobody was at, which made it even closer, which then mimicked our practice table. It was a real...
it felt like home.
It felt like home, so that's exactly what we practiced.
We're talking about practice, man. I mean, how silly is that, man? We're talking about practice.
Yeah, and the dice were magical in my hands this time. The dealer said he'd never seen the table light up in blue flames.
Yeah, you had, what was your ending roll?
46.
46. So, and I've never seen it go. No, I was at the table once when it was 51 when I first showed up, but it wasn't my roll, and I didn't take advantage of it because it was that long of a roll. But I never seen the color changes, or didn't remember seeing the color changes. And so, you know, we've talked about when you're on the roll to win table, that when you get past 8, it calls you a hot shooter, and then the graphics turn into fire, and it looks like you're at, you know, around the rim or around the borders. The borders, it shows, you know, flames like fireplace, and so that's cool. And then,
but they're red, always red.
Well, but it's, I mean, that's true fire.
Right.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's the thing. When it goes to 32, it changes again. So, you know, the hot shooter bet is paying you on every succession of 8 rolls. So 8, 16, 30, 24, 32.
Yeah.
So when it turns from 8, it goes to that hot flame. Well, when you got to 32, it changed again and went to more of a red flame.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that.
And the graphic changes.
Well, you know, the funny thing is if you're not standing up, looking at the table, you're not seeing that stuff. You're looking at your screen. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it changed again. So, you know, the graphic changed a little bit. I got to pay more attention. Maybe it changes at 16 and 24 too.
It probably changes every 8, just like you're saying.
Yeah, or you know, something different.
Yeah.
Because I know when it goes from 7 to 8, the green background for the table goes away and it turns into this space age where you're seeing shooting stars.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
it goes to that, it's more animated. So I got to pay attention on the 16 and the 24. But yeah, you did a monster, man. You did a monster today.
Well, and it came at the right time because I was actually down. I passed my.
We were both down because, you know, we were playing on other people and playing on ourselves, and we weren't hitting anything, and so we were losing $50 a roll.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you do that 2-3 times on each other. Now all of a sudden you're down $200, $300. So yeah, no, I bought in for 500, and I was down to 180, and so I was already down below my 50%, which is what I wanted to do. But I'd only shot twice.
Right.
And I'd only shot twice from, only once from the position. So you were able to get into your spot, and then the guy finally left from stick right one, so I was able to move into stick right one, so then we were both able to shoot from the open position. And so you had the monster, and then unfortunately, I was chit-chatting with the dealer to make sure that he wouldn't talk to you, because we had a chatty dealer.
He was, but he was nice.
He was a great guy, and you know, talked sports and talked hurricanes and talked about the table. I mean, he was actually a good guy. And what was funny is he had Monday morning, or he had Monday off, so he was able to get off after work and watch the Super Bowl. And so he said he basically has always been working since '94. He's been in the casino industry in Lake Charles, and he's never had, you know, the Super Bowl off. So he was able to watch it for the first time.
Oh, that seems even worse than the restaurant industry.
A little bit. So so he wanted to chat about the game, which was fine, but he was talking to you, and I didn't want him talking to the shooter, so I ended up having to talk to him. But he was talking during your throw, during your swing. So I kept talking to him, and then with the clock being at 15 seconds now, I wasn't really. I was talking to him too much, and I wasn't making bets on you, and I just had the 6 and 8 going, and you hit the 6 and 8. So I got up from my 180 to 250. But didn't do what you were doing by making 7 points, I think.
Yeah, it was either 6 or 7. Yeah.
But man, congratulations on that. We've got a picture of the total, and we actually got a picture of the blue flame. So yeah, once you go to 40, it goes from you know, the natural flame to the red flame. So at 40, it turns into a blue flame. So we got a little animation of that, and then. Yeah, man, all we needed to do was go to 50, and then that would have been the high payout on that hot shooter bet.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I played the bonus the first 2 rolls that I did not do well on, and then the third roll that I did do well on, I did not play.
And I didn't either.
And that's usually how it goes, isn't it?
Yep. Well, and that's what I said last night. I'm not betting on it because every time I bet on it, I 7 out, but when I don't bet on it, I hit it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened today.
Well, so I had my big roll, and then I think I waited for it to loop around, and I did try one more time, and I only went 7 rolls.
Yeah, you went 7 rolls. You hit 1 point.
Yeah, I did.
You hit your 8, and then that was it. And then I wanted to have at least one more shot, and so.
But I cashed out at this point.
You cashed out.
But now I am ahead.
Yeah, no,
so
you cashed out ahead, which is exactly what you need to do. We were both below 50%.
Oh, I was down to like 20%.
Well, you got your own rolls. But yeah, no, so I was able to get back to, you know, 250, and I'm like, all right, give me one more shot. I'm going to try it. And I put 5 on the hot shooter bet, and I was playing with my set that I practice on at home, and I got into the spot that you were shooting from. So it was the closest to the end because the stick burst is not there, and dude, I did it. I finally had a decent roll. I ended up hitting 32, 33.
We said 33. Yeah.
33, and I think I hit 4 points.
But he did not get a picture of this.
I did not get a picture, but I got a witness, so that's just
I did
as good.
witness it, but the picture is better.
Better, yeah, it is. I was able to get out of my hole, and I ended up being up $50. So I ended up making 300 on my roll because I started at 250 and ended at 550.
Yeah.
So, and I did have a nickel on the hot shooter bet, and so I made it past 30 rolls. So that ended up being 7 to 1. So I got $35 out of that.
Yeah, 32.
So, yeah. But Dude, I was throwing my 7-set. I was throwing my 6-1 7-set, and I was hitting the field like.
Yeah, you were.
Like you wouldn't believe.
At one point, you were 9 out of 10 on field rolls.
Yeah, I was hitting.
It was 1-5, and everything else was 9, 10,
9s,
11.
10s, 11s. I was hitting hard 10s
4.
like crazy. Well, that 6-1 set 7s has the 5-2 facing me. So my dice were double pitching into a hard 10. And I hit that probably 3 or 4 times, but I had money on it, money on the 10. I didn't have money on the hardways. But the guy next to me straight out, he was on the horn, or he was on the field, so he was loving it because I was hitting 2s and 12s occasionally with the 11s and 10s and 9s. I wasn't hitting the 6s and 8s so much, but
so much.
I was playing across at minimum, so I had 64. Yeah, I had basically 64 across, and then I was playing single odds on whatever my pass line bet was. But so I had all the numbers working, and then I was doing $1, $2, $3, $4, and $5 horn bets, just and they were hitting. I would say 50% of the time I was throwing a horn bet.
Yeah, well, you threw a lot of horns.
Yeah, so that's that 1-6-7 set for me with 5-2 facing me. I mean, it was working just like it did at home. So I'm really happy about that. I did try the 3-4-7 every once in a while, but my 3-4 is what I did when I first was starting, because that's basically a variation of the HARDWAYS set, and I would always end up getting a 6-1-7. So I stayed away from it, stuck with this set, and it worked. So I got out of the hole. We got out of our holes, and now we're on our way to New Orleans, feeling pretty positive. I guess now the bar has been raised.
The bar has been raised. Now
and,
we know.
Now we know what you're capable of for this.
Well, 33 2 weeks ago and 46 today.
That's
not well. And out of really only three rolls today, and last time what did I roll? Maybe 4 or 5 times. So I mean, out of 7, 8, 9 rolls, I've had 2 monsters.
Yeah, because that was the other thing. I had still only rolled twice, and you fucking hogged the dice.
It didn't seem long at all when I was rolling.
It was at least a half hour.
It had to have been at least half an hour.
Well, we got there at,
what did I say,
7:45,
yeah.
And then we ended up leaving after my roll.
It was 10:30.
It was 10:30, 10:40. Yeah, 10:40. So we had been there for 2.5 hours already. So, you only rolled 3 times, and I only rolled
3 hours.
Yeah, and I only rolled 4 times, I think. Or
maybe I held the dice longer than I thought.
You obviously did, because nobody else had monster rolls. I mean, there were a couple of guys before we rolled.
Yeah, they had some.
There were 2 guys
10s.
before us that had a 220 roll, or one guy had a 20 something, the other guy had like 19 or something like that, and they were random rollers.
But I think we still are thinking that the rolls are generally a little bit longer on this table.
Now there was a cluster of a bunch of 0.7 outs,
and I threw some of that.
Yeah, no, we both did. Yeah, no, you had the guy at Station 1 left of the dealer, He had a 0.7 out that we all had money on.
Yeah.
And then it came around, and then it was like 4 and out, and then it was like 3 and out, and I did like a 5 and out, and you did like a 2 and out.
Yeah.
But then when it went back around, I think I did another 8. 8 with 1 point maybe, and then it was your monster.
No, then I did 5 and 1 point, and then it went around again, and then it was because seat 1 got up by that point.
Got it. You're right. So, but yeah, no. So we're in a good mood and excited to see what New Orleans has in store for us.
I'm hungry already.
Yeah. So should be somewhere between a 3.5 hour drive from Lake Charles to New Orleans. Smooth roads from here in. I think this is casino money working on your state highways.
All right.
Or your interstate highway.
Well, and you need to discuss your $2 bet.
Oh yeah. So, we were the tip button got installed, and we talked about how there were a few new things to do, and that we were doing our lay bet across on the COMEOUT, and that one time I was able to do it for less than $10, and then actually was able to put a $2 lay bet on each of the numbers to make it a $12 lay across. And this time when I tried it, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do less than $10. So it's either LAUBERGE is listening to our podcast, which thank you very much, LAUBERGE. We appreciate you listening.
Highly unlikely.
Or they were able to run the numbers and looked at some sort of, saw that some idiots were betting below the minimum, and then they changed it.
I'm going with that one.
Yeah, so, but I still think it's because I bet low. I think it's because I did it and they saw that. So, but yeah, so no more under the minimum bet on lay bets, because I did try to do nickels all the way across and it wouldn't let me.
Yeah, so he ruined it for everybody.
Right. Well, I was only able to win it that once, and then I lost the other times. But the horn is still the minimum bet is $1, as long as you got a $10 bet out there. And that's I guess the deal is you got to have at least a minimum of 10 out there, and then I think basically the center bets will let you bet $1. So we'll have to see what the other roll to win tables do.
Well, and we were talking about the people shooting at the table. When we first got there, position 1 was shooting, and he 7'd out pretty quick. And then it was position, I guess, 3.
From straight out.
That guy went. He rolled 4 straight 7s.
Oh yeah, and that was the deal.
And I'm sitting there and I'm watching him roll 4 straight 7s. And actually, I think I laid the first one and got the first one.
Yeah. Then I was a dumbass. I thought I'd play don't on him, and he kills me. And then he killed my $10. Now I'll go to 25. Oh, he killed my 25. Now I'll go to 50. Oh, he killed my 50.
Well, yeah, because, after him rolling 4 7s, I was thinking in my head, well, I really don't know how to play this guy.
No, not at all.
And then he ended up rolling 20-something.
He ended up going to like 28 or something like that. Yeah, no, he messed with my head because I was already down 90 by his 5th roll, and he hadn't even had a point yet.
He had just established a point, yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, well, there's no way he's going to keep rolling. He ended up rolling 28.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I get picked off on the don't come. I put on the 4 and 10, and he's hitting 6 and 8s. I moved to the 6 and 8. He's hitting 5 and 9. I mean, I just couldn't figure out this guy.
I played a couple field bets and kept it to that on him. I missed kind of out on a big roll, but I mean, truthfully, he was all around everywhere.
He was completely random.
Yeah.
But he kept rolling, and
well, in my head, I said I don't know how to play this guy, and so I really didn't play him.
You were smart.
Yeah.
You were smart, because I played him and ended up being down. Yeah. I got down to like 120, but then I was able to do some lay bets on him, and he hit a couple, so I ended up, I think, only losing 75 on him total. But just when you think you're figuring this game out, it'll smack you in the friggin' face.
Yeah, well.
And it hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Well, and that was the second shooter of the table we just got to before 8 in the morning.
Yes.
And I hadn't even picked up the dice yet.
Yes.
That's the worst part, is when you're down a quarter of your bankroll and you haven't even touched the dice. What do you do?
Well, that goes back to, I think we've discussed this before, taking observing the table a little bit before you just start making wild bets.
Yep.
Yeah, if somebody rolls 1-7 on to come out and then they establish a point, I don't really hold that against them. I feel like, okay, you got one out of the way, good. But when you roll multiple ones on to come out, I really have trouble playing that person, because I don't want to sit down and just automatically start playing, negative,
it's
DCs.
It's tough when you're a don't player, because a lot of times those back-to-back 7s will have an 11 in there too.
Yeah.
And then that kills your don't as well. So no, I mean it goes back to we don't like playing on comeouts.
Yeah.
But the one thing we do like playing on comeouts is laying across, and that was the other thing. I didn't lay across on any of that. You did once.
I did once, yeah.
But I mean, then you would have only been picked off one. That's the beauty of that play, is if you're laying all the numbers on the come out, you only get picked off on one of them. You don't lose the entire, all 6 bets. Where if you're placing across, then you're going to lose all of those on a 7. So yeah, I think there's this happy medium that
it's a smart. Well, and then I was just playing the outside. I was not playing the 6 or 8.
That's another little thing that I think is a wise play too. Is
well, the most combinations are your 6, 7, and 8. So here you're taking 6 and 8 off the board, and you're hoping for the 7.
Yeah.
And so you're putting on a 10, 9, and 5 and 4. But
Yeah. Well, see, and I would say, okay, you could play 30 on each of those.
Right. You can increase those,
and then maybe play 15 on the 6 and 8. That way you're not down so much. And then even when you put a 12, you could go back with a $12 6 and 8, and maybe recoup some of that 15.
No, I like that play. I don't think you can do it or should do it every come out roll for every player.
No.
But
it's your scratch off.
It is, but you kind of see something. I mean, that one guy, he rolled a 7 the next time he got the dice on his come out roll.
Dude, there's something about 7s on the come out on that table.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't play it both times, but I watched it, and now
Well, and I mean, there were a couple times where I just put 10. I put 10 on each across, so I was just at 60.
Well, one time I didn't realize the clock was winding down, so I hit 25 and threw it on the 4 and 10, and he actually rolled a 7. So I got paid on that.
Got your $12.50 minus the vig.
Minus the vig, yeah.
Yeah, no, we did talk to the dealer, and the dealer does say it's supposed to be paying accurately, so you don't need a proper bet.
Yeah, and I noticed you making like $13 bet, placing $13.
Oh yeah, well, when I was rolling, I was still a little skittish, so I wasn't full pressing anything. I was just slowly making little dollar increases here and there. Well, and I was also playing on the horn, so I'd throw a couple dollars on the horn, make a if I hit the horn, then I'd increase it from 1 to 2 or from 2 to 4, and I got it up to 5 finally one time, but.
And
yeah,
you hit it. You hit something.
No, and then I was just kind of playing around with, I've talked about how I went from $10 5 to a $12 5, and then I just keep adding $1 every once in a while, because I didn't want to risk losing what I just won. So this slow, small little increment, I was comfortable with it. It's not what
you missed a couple, and you were mad at yourself because you had rolled and then. Nothing,
well, yeah,
a horn bet didn't hit, maybe a 6 hit or whatever, and you got paid.
And then
but
you didn't go back up on
you didn't
my
go
horn,
back up.
And then here comes a 3, here comes a 2.
So maybe here's one of the negatives to not having a dealer.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, because they would remind you.
Yeah, because if you're playing it constantly, the dealer will, a lot of times ask you, hey, you want your horn or
But I mean, at a minimum, I was completely cool with just playing $1 on it, and you'd win $4. And basically, it'd pay for itself.
It'd pay 8.
Well, depending on what it hit.
Or 15.50. Well, and the thing is if you have $1 on it and one of them hits, then you could press it.
Yeah. So.
Because you do back to back a lot.
No, I had a decent. My good roll was a good roll. So let's see if we can do another good roll at another casino.
I am down to try.
Yeah, for a Monday night. They
were kind of busy.
They were a little busy, but the casino wasn't. I mean, they had people at the restaurants, so people were there. But yeah, I think it definitely dies down after 11.
And I will say another thing is we stayed in a different tower this time.
Yeah, it's the old tower. We didn't stay in the new tower.
The original tower.
Yeah. So the old tower has more rooms going to the elevators. So we found that the elevators tend to be a little more crowded than if we would have stayed in the new tower. It had less rooms going to the elevators, so the elevators were more open. So I think from now on we're gonna. The only drawback is the new tower doesn't have balconies.
I was going to say the positive to that was we did get a balcony. Not
that overlooks the pool,
but not that we really even used it. What I mean?
No. But I mean, it's still kind of fun and nice. But it's usually an upgrade too.
Yeah.
So,
but because we're so awesome, they gave it to us for free.
Yep. So we did all right. So yeah. So now we're, if we make good time, we're going to try to get a king cake today. Hopefully those places don't sell out. Hopefully they're. I don't know though. I mean, this is the week. This is high time celebration. So we'll be down on Bourbon Street tonight. There won't be any point in you guys looking, but there's a webcam from.
Hey, if y'all
COMEOUT.
if y'all look, I will wave.
Yeah, actually, you know what we'll do? I'll throw that out on Instagram and Twitter and say we'll be down there if you want to catch us. And
but I mean, we'll have a mask and hat on, so you won't be able to tell.
well, no,
who we
you
are.
will be able to tell because we have special Mardi Gras beads where you will know that it's us. So our Mardi Gras beads have dice.
Nice.
So yours have dice and mine have dice. So we'll be the only Mardi Gras people down there with dice necklaces. So how will you not be able to know us? And so I think a good plan for us is maybe on the hour or on the half hour we'll try to maybe walk around and wave to the camera because I think we know where it is.
Well, I'm sure we can find the camera.
Well,
yeah.
you know, the other thing is I'll pull it up on my phone and we'll be able to see ourselves on the phone.
Oh, and then we can take a picture of it.
There you go.
And then we can post it. There you go.
Look at that. Now we're thinking.
Now y'all don't have to waste your time watching us.
Oh, there you go. We'll show you exactly where we are.
See, we saved y'all a whole bunch of time just there.
Absolutely. Don't have to waste. But I will say, the live webcams are kind of fun.
Oh, yeah. You know, the other night when we were watching the Super Bowl, we had the game on
the
one
other
TV, and then you had it on another TV, and it was fun just to you know,
Well, people watch.
look over and see how many people were walking by.
It was
and
COVID. You know, it was safe. It was COVID. Hey, COVID friendly just doesn't sound right.
it was COVID safe for us.
We got to come up with a better. If
COVID acceptable.
COVID. Yeah, it still doesn't roll off the tongue yet. So yeah, COVID friendly is not what COVID friendly means for us.
Yeah.
But COVID's safe from your couch. You can watch Bourbon Street, which is probably going to be a lot of fun. I think naturally it's just there's going to be more and more people.
Well, I mean, I plan on showing my boobs.
Well, that's a reason not to change the channel. Change the channel on that one. Your boobs are bigger than most girls.
Hey. And probably just as hairy.
So, but yeah, we'll talk a little more about what we see and do from New Orleans. Coming up on our next episode, we continue with part 2 of our week-long trip to the Gulf Coast casinos. Post-trip reports from New Orleans and a little history too. The Red Eye Gamblers, thank you for your time and hope you got a little something out of this week's podcast.
Here's to rolling 7s on the come out, and may your 6s and 8s always be hard. Cheers.